Intermediate tracks are the current bread and butter of stock car racing at the national level, with several of these tracks dotted all across the country. But what makes tonight special is the fact that 4 drivers will have their championship hopes end tonight, and another 4 will be able to move on to the race for the Cup next week. And there might not be a better venue than tonight here at Kansas Speedway to host this event. Hello, my name is Finity Cooney here with Hunter Sleppy. Hunter, we're here for another round of elimination set for the Area Cup Playoff Series, and looking to see who are going to be those 4 drivers going home.
Yeah, well, the first one to keep an eye on for is Peyton Howell. He did not have a solid finish at Iowa last week. He had a very fast car, but got caught up in some shenanigans that put him in a pickle in the point standings. He currently enters the last playoff driver. We go from 8 to 4 before we get to our championship weekend next week in Atlanta. The old Atlanta, that is, not the new mile-and-a-half super speedway like Atlanta. But he enters at a 21-point disadvantage from the cutoff line. That's currently being held by James Scioli. In the 7, he's got about a 9-point cushion separating him and Connor Horn from making it into the championship 4, and we already know who one of the drivers is that's locked in for the championship 4. That's Jake Nichols. Had a great win last week at Iowa. Took it from teammate Seth Knoll in the final 8 laps, in which Knoll enters atop the standings, and he has a pretty comfortable margin, so unless he gets penalized for something, then he's also going to be out. But it's going to be Jake Nichols definitely for the championship 4. Seth Knoll, Jake Matheson, and Skyler are the top 4 at the moment. The bottom 4, it's Connor Horn, Blaze McKinney, Michael Curran, and Peyton Howell. And interesting to note about Michael Curran, as practice winds down, he won this race just a season ago by 9 1/1000ths of a second over Jake Nichols in a thrilling photo finish. So look for some of that magic to happen for Curran again tonight to try and push himself into the playoffs. He enters about at an 18-point gap below the cutoff line, so he's going to need to pull some magic out.
Yeah, he is going to definitely need to repeat that magic from one season ago, and effectively that win got him into the final race and got him a championship. And again, of course, he's looking to defend that title, looking at Connor Horn in the number 42, doing a little bit of pit road entry practice there with Adam Cabot in the 07, who was eliminated not too long ago. Of course, Seth Knoll in the number 1, he's currently locked in as well. So the drivers get their final moments of practice before we get set to qualify here for Kansas and get ready for the main event. I would say qualifying not nearly as important as it was last week at Iowa. And I'm sure the conditions for these drivers too will be a lot more easier to cope with compared to what we saw at Iowa, where the grip came at a premium.
It's definitely going to be at a premium here, although not as much, just more depending on where you run your line through the turns. This does kind of race like a super speedway, but without the super speedway package. Just because of how the next-gen car is, you can run the top, the middle, the bottom. It's basically similar to any other mile-and-a-half on the schedule, like, say, Chicagoland. That's probably the closest example to it. Atlanta, don't really know what to expect with Atlanta because it's the old surface, but as far as mile-and-a-halves go, if you recall the Chicagoland race and the Kansas race a couple of seasons ago, it's somewhat similar to that. Those are the two that I can put forth together for that, as David Weishart looks to put a time down. I will say, though, the one driver I'm keeping an eye on is Jake Nichols. He has literally finished no worse than second here. He won in his previous start. I believe that was back in season 2, and then he finished second by 9 1/1000ths of a second, and Weishart scraping the wall. Gonna get a stop before he gets to the line, and he'll do just that.
He will do just that. Was struggling to get grip in the tires. Connor Horn, just as we were briefly looking at him, he's trying to work his magic to get the tires worked up as much as possible. And you can see him struggling with some grip coming out of the corner, so the grip seem to be a little bit lacking for some of these drivers here.
It's all about just trying to get up to speed and maximize the temperature in the tires. So that's why we see some guys running the outside lane here.
Look at him work
Connor
that wheel.
Horn, yeah, he's got a handful right now trying to get the most out of it, but don't want to scrape the wall, otherwise your lap does not count, and then you're at a disadvantage for the beginning of the race, and we could see a potential big one here. We saw it happen in Season 2. Season 5, I don't believe we had any as Horn comes across the stripe. Yeah, we had no cautions in last season's race, but Connor Horn comes through with a pretty flying lap time, although not quicker than Jonathan Oates and Travis Beckner. He's third on the board.
Yeah, Beckner currently sitting in second place. Decent time for him. Trying to look at some other major competitors. Michael Curran, a driver who needs to have a decent run. He is across the line, and he will be in second at the moment. So a decent time for Curran. Trying to see where he's going to end up once everyone else ends up across the line. Trying to look at some other big names coming across. David Weiser finally able to get it up to speed and not hit the wall. Second place for him.
Yeah, pretty good lap time for the 33. Again, these non-playoff drivers like Jonathan Oates, David Weishart, they're just going out there trying to maximize the rest of the races they have this season, just trying to win races, kind of like what Tyler Nichols did, although he won at Talladega to lock himself into the playoffs, but another one wouldn't hurt for the 41 as he has the 10th quickest time on the board. Here's Emerson Arden in a new paint scheme and very patriotic paint scheme on this Veterans Day.
Yeah, really liking the celebration. Beautiful looking car. Will that car end up in a decent position? We'll see. Oh, it's not going to matter though. He taps the wall. 0x, so that lap time is going to be disqualified for him. So unfortunately, 57 is going to have to start from the back of the field. Now, Bryce Senezek, he's across the line. His lap did not count, so he's going to be in a similar situation. And Bryce Senezek, I see him jumping up to 10th. Here's Philip Groner in the number 11 machine. He's coming out of turn 4. And he's going to almost get loose and hit the wall. He'll save it. Might lose a little bit of time, but the lap should count. Cross for him, 32.154. That'll put him up near, not near the front, but James Scully will go near the front.
Indeed, the 7 getting the top time for the moment as Jake Matheson gets the 8th quickest time. So that's very interesting seeing the 54 that far down. Jeremy Miller back from his suspension. Coming across the stripe in the number 30. Will it be fast enough to dethrone Scioli? It will not. It'll be the 15th quickest time on the board for the number 30, but it's a bonus point for getting that pole, so very crucial for playoff drivers like Scioli. Max Service, 16th quickest on the board again. The 7 of Scioli enters tonight just +9 to the cutoff, so he needs any points that he can and just can't get into any carnage whatsoever.
Yeah, I think we missed it. Jake Nichols got out there. He's up in 3rd. I believe all the playoff drivers have gone. Actually, I eat my words because I can see Peyton Howell. He's out there on the racetrack at the very tail end of qualifying. So if he makes a mistake, he's not going to be able to reset. Of course, he's actually already on his flying lap, so he wouldn't be able to reset anyway. Decent run through Sector 1. And again, he's in a must-win situation. He could point his way in theoretically, but he's really far behind, so he's going to be looking to get a win and in trying to do what Curran did last season. But for Peyton Howell in qualifying, at least cross line 32.085. That's going to put him not near the top, but it should put him actually nowhere, it seems like, because I think he might have hit the wall when we weren't looking. So he's actually going to be the back. Seth Knoll in 8th. And that'll wrap up qualifying here from Kansas.
Yeah, a good bit of guys didn't go out there and put a qualifying time down. We got 36 on the board, and I know some guys scraped the wall on their attempts. Actually, a lot did, but yeah. Still, some guys opted to not do a lap time, but that's interesting to note. We'll see how that plays out whenever the race begins.
Yeah, we'll definitely see how it plays out when the race begins for these drivers. A lot of them struggling in qualifying. Going to be hoping for better things to come during the race. But before we go any further, just want to give a shout out to the Area iRacing Twitch channel. Race fans, be sure to subscribe to the Area iRacing Twitch channel. As a subscriber, you'll have Area iRacing emotes you can use in the chat and earn double channel points that you can use to redeem for free merchandise for just $5 a month. Join today, especially after this season, SimTV and doing coverage of the All Area series, so be sure to subscribe to the Area Twitch channel. Also want to thank our starting grid sponsor, Central Mobile Homes. Looking for a small or large home, a new shed, or a Triple Crown trailer? Look no further than Central Mobile Homes. They've been serving proudly Florida customers for 28 years with a plethora of small and large home floor plans, shed designs, and Triple Crown trailers available in LaBelle, Okeechobee, Clewiston, and Sebring. Head to CentralMobileHomesInc.com to get started today. So I want to take a look at tradition at the moment. Michael Curran sign. Who you got on Hear Me Out Cake? For me, Anger from the movie Inside Out is hot.
What?
I have several questions.
That's all right. All right. And let me do some research. Anger from Inside Out.
You haven't seen Inside Out?
No, I know it's animated film. Okay. What's the hear me out part?
I guess he really likes anger from Inside Out. So he's like, hear me out.
The cake? What?
I don't know. It's probably some trend I'm not aware of. I've slowly become like a boomer.
I'm not aware of it either.
We're both out of
the
loop.
Cake part, I can kind of make out what the cake part means, which that's a little bit concerning if that's what you consider cake. But I will keep my answer to myself. But gonna be looking forward to this race, and again, that's the defending champion and the race winner from this race a year ago, which propelled him into the championship 4. So it very much could happen again for Michael Curran. Could also happen for Peyton Howell, who's probably. Well, he's only 3 points behind Curran in points, but going to be a must-win for all 4 guys below the playoffs. No matter how close they are on points, that win locks you in, and then you get to, well, I wouldn't say go into the next weekend stress-free, yourself stressing about the championship, but you can go in with a little more ease.
And at least just know that you have still have a shot at that championship. Connor Horn, a driver. Again, the drivers in the yellow numbers are drivers that are outside the top 4 at the moment. Drivers in blue are inside the top 4, and there is one single driver in green. That is Jake Nichols, and he has nothing to worry about for at least this race because he knows he's moving on to that championship 4. It's just a matter of determining who's going to be the next 3 drivers joining him out of this round. And again, for quite a few of the drivers near the back, you're talking about Peyton Howell. He's in a situation where he's essentially going to have to win this race or have to really hope the rest of his competitors are struggling out there on the racetrack.
As Connor Horn runs up on the outside, scrapes the wall, that's probably going to be the lane that most guys are going to be running in unless you have a screw up here. But the outside lane, again, very high banked around this racetrack. I believe it's 20 degrees and progressive banking throughout the turns. It's got 11 degrees on the front and 5 degrees on the back stretch, but that outside lane, it just carries so much momentum whenever you're coming off corner exit, propels you down the straightaways. It's going to be hard to make passes on the inside and the middle lane, but it is very possible. Again, you got to rely on a little bit of a mishap, and then on your car just handling the turn perfect, as Travis Beckner is going to give you an advantage a vantage point from the inside, and looking throughout the different cameras we got, Brent Bucari, as always, has his in-sim setup. He's got the VR headset in and taking over that terrible towel back there. The Steelers are 7-2, and as a Steelers fan, proud to say that. He's got good taste, as Ricky Springer is getting everything sorted out before he goes and takes to the track.
Yeah, quite a few drivers just sitting down on pit road, just waiting in the garage, waiting for the race to start. And again, for the drivers in the playoffs, a little bit more concern in the driver's seat because it's all on the line now, whether you're going to be making it on or if you're going to be out of the championship here and out, and especially for Michael Curran, he wants to try to defend that title with everything he's got. Going to see if he has what it takes. He did a fantastic job, drove down, I believe it was to Jake Nichols to steal that win away from him.
Yeah, very clean battle as well. I mean, they did scrape a little bit, but for the most part, it was clean, and it paid crucial dividends to Curran because it paid out for him in the end.
Yeah, absolutely did. And as we tick over here, I'm going to get ready to go through your Central Mobile Homes starting lineup. And as we mentioned before, on pole position, it's going to be James Scioli up there in first place. Next to him, Jonathan Oates, a solid qualifying effort for the 45. He's going to be rolling off P2.
Then rolling off P3, it's going to be Jake Nichols in the 73, and alongside him, the 33 of David Weishart going to roll off fourth.
Moving on back to fifth is going to be Michael Curran in the 24 car. Next to him, Travis Beckner. He's rolling off in sixth place in the 20 car.
Row 4, you're going to find Connor Horn in the 42, starting 7th, and alongside him in the 8th position, it's Seth Knoll in the 1.
Moving back to 9th is going to be Jake Matheson. He's in the 54 car. And next to him, Garrett Grant in the number 5. He's rolling off in 10th.
Row 6, it's got a couple of juniors here. Ed Shearer Jr. in the 17, starting 11th, and alongside him, Brad Slaughter Jr. in the 88, going to roll off P12.
Moving on back, one more spot, it's going to be Brent Picari, lineup 13th. He's in the 35. Next to him in the 11 car, it's 14th place, Phil Groner.
Row 8, a couple of guys with green on their car. Bryce Senesac in the 09 starts 15th, and alongside him is the returning Jeremy Miller, going to start 16th in the number 30.
Back in 17th is going to be Max Service in the 81, and next to him it's Seth Berger. He's in the 77, lined up 18th.
Row 10, it's Tyler Nichols in the 41, starting 19th, and alongside him in 20th, it's the 2 of Greg Mitchell.
Moving on back one more spot, it's going to be Nick Silver in 21st in the 99 machine next to him, Ed Robertson. He's in 64, lineup 22nd.
Starting 23rd, it's a wild card in Tyler Gary in the 62, and alongside him, the 8 of Matthew Bell, going to start 24th.
Moving on back, another spot is going to be Kwame Scott returning to the series. He's rolling off 25th in the 36 car. Next to Adam Cabot in the Series 7, he's rolling off 26th.
And 27th, it's Bailey Turner in the 25, and the driver to keep an eye on is starting 28th. That's Payne Howell in the 52, comes in 8th in the point standings in a must-win situation.
Yeah, going to be interesting to see his climb from the back. Looking back in 29th, it's Connor Krezek. He's in the 14 car. Next to him, Cameron Hearn. He's rolling off in the 4 car in 30th.
31st is Douglas Dubing in the 71, and alongside him, it's the 97 Reese Schaefer, going to roll off 32nd.
Moving on to 33rd, it's Ricky Springer in the 51, Mason Kane next to him in the 31, he's in 34th.
In the last row, it's Ben Pierce in the 65 and 35th, and alongside him in 36th, it's the 57 of Emerson Arden. Had that lap time disallowed after slamming the turn 4 wall, so he rolls off 36th, and that's all the positions we have, all the cars that are here, and throughout it, some names catch my eye, like Tyler Gary, mentioned him, Kwame Scott as well, although I don't think they have taken to the track yet, neither has Cameron Hearn, but if they do take to the track, it's going to be interesting seeing how this race plays out amongst the playoff drivers and those guys as well.
Yeah, a couple drivers going to the back of the field, notably Peyton Howell in the 52, in the 45 machine as well. Who's in the 45? Oh, Jonathan Oates. Sorry, we saw him. That's unfortunate because he qualified very well up in second, so he's going to the back as well as the 5 of Garrett Grant. And then a couple EOL as well. Travis Beckner, it's been almost drive-through EOL. He's not been able to get out of that cycle with the penalty points this season. I want to say between him and the driver right behind him now, Jeremy Miller, they've just not been able to avoid the penalties this season. So actually the 20 and the 30 both having to serve a drive-through. So they're both going to the back of the field.
Yeah, Miller coming off that suspension, so he still has a good bit of penalty points, but still time to get it down before the end of the season. As looking at the conditions on the racetrack right now, about 75 degrees in the air, 126 on the racetrack. Very hot, very slick at a track like Kansas where all the grooves are raceable and you can make passes in any lane, so that's going to be fun to watch with just a slight wind out of the east, only 2 miles an hour. Finian, who do you got to win this race?
I was going to ask you. I think you deserve the first pick. I'm leading the points, so I'll let you have a pick.
Fair enough. So the previous winners here, Brad Robertson, Jake Nichols, Michael Curran. I don't think our wild cards are here. I don't see Gary, Kwame Scott, or Cameron Hearn on the racetrack, so I'm going to go with give me a wild card. Give me Michael Curran to win and make it to the championship floor.
Oh, I like that. I like that pick indeed. I think for me, I'm going to have to go with the man on pole. James Scully. He's been on a roll lately. I think he's going to have what it takes to get it done, but we'll see who's got what it takes to get it done. Pace car, left-hand turn on to pit lane, 140 laps on the clock. Let's see as they get going. Scully leading them down, and we are green here at Kansas. And look at the field in one giant group off of turn 4. It's going to be James Scully that'll lead the lap ahead of his teammate Jake Nichols. Michael Curran already jumping to the top side, joined by Jake Matheson, Connor Horn. It looks to be down low. And look at that, the top 6 all playoff drivers.
You can see throughout the field, there's a couple of cars went off on the apron down there. That was Bryce Senesac in the 09 and maybe Douglas Dubing as well, but you can see just the amount of lanes that are being used right here. You can use any lane possible, but That outside lane is going to carry some momentum off the turn, so that's going to help for the straightaways. But it's this early in the going where the middle and the bottom lane are about as even as the outside lane, as Kyle Lee still leads. Here comes that is Seth Berger in the 77, trying to close in on the top 10 spot.
Trying to close in on them as well. As you look up ahead, Seth Knoll just trying to find a spot in lane. It looks like the top lane is one of the better places to be, at least if you're in the middle of this pack, and he's stuck down low. Actually, Jake Matheson, he was up top. He's down low now trying to make a move. As field works their way out of turn 4.
There was a car that came down pit road. I think it was Jeremy Miller coming to...
I thought I was seeing things as well. He might have missed pit lane the first time.
I didn't know if he served his penalty or not, or if he might have sped. Very interesting here. I mean, he's relatively off the pace, obviously. Him and, I think, Travis Beckner, they had to make a pit. Yeah, he must have missed the pit stop, or he must have sped on pit road, because that's a little bit concerning to be that far back and still go through. I'll have to check in on that.
Yeah, Travis Beckner, he's back on the racetrack. He's still on the lead lap, but not by much, because right behind him is James Scully and the rest of the pack. Taking a look here, 3 wide action off of turn 2. Connor Horn up top, Michael Curran in the middle, and Seth Knoll up on the bottom.
Yeah, these guys fighting hard as Connor Horn's going to be able to stay in front of the 24 for now. Seth Knoll on the bottom trying to fight through for third. Again, an update from Carter Coop. He sped, getting back up to speed through his pass-through, so that's not a good sign.
That sucks. That's really unfortunate.
Got to get it out of the way, though. Just penalties and whatnot, so you know your speed limits for whenever you have to make another pit stop, whether that's under green or under yellow. David Weishardt's going to battle for Ed Shearer Jr. for the 8th spot as Brad Slaughter holds 10th, but he's got a field of cars behind him that want to get around.
Yeah, and everyone's just trying to feel out the racetrack at the moment. We mentioned before it's a little bit hot, a little bit slick out there. 124 degrees on the track. So drivers looking for grip and places to be, and it seems like everyone's gravitating a little bit towards the middle, towards the top, but somebody's going back down low. And I think a lot of just guys just feeling it out depending on where the traffic is at the moment, trying to stay out of that dirty air. Here comes Brad Slaughter with the run on the 33 of Weishart. He'll look down low.
Yeah, Weishart got on the wall coming out of 2. Not sure if Shearer Jr. had a moment and pinched him up on the corner exit, but nonetheless, it's going to put that 9th spot up for grabs. The 88's got a strong run to the inside. David Weishart still throttling on the outside in the Louisville colors in the 33. Rolling through side by side in the 1.
Side by side for position up ahead. Connor Horn trying to keep the defense going with Michael Curran, giving him a little bit of a bump. Gets a great run off of turn 2. Gives a bump to the 42, and there's Seth Knoll with the dive down low.
And Knoll's going to look low, trying to take that 4th spot away, but you'll see, he got so close to that outside wall, but that's just how much it takes to make a pass here and try to stay in it if you're on the outside lane. The one of Knoll still sending it on the middle lane now as Connor Horn's protecting the bottom, and here comes the one with the run. Michael Curran going to have a strong run on corner exit to stay alongside the 1, maybe get up to the bumper of the 42 before heading off into 3.
He's been really liking this top lane, that 24 car. I think he feels it's the place to be. That's where he made the move on Jake Nichols to get the win last season. Going to see if he can work that magic again. Solid run, solid start for him. Of course, he needs every point he can get. Needs to get up there and really lead a lap, but of course, it's early in this race. Only lap 10 of 140. Still a long ways to go as Seth Knoll continues to fight him on the bottom.
Yeah, and 6 of our playoff drivers are battling inside the top 7, and looking through, there's still Peyton Howell to come through the field. Notice that we're missing one of our playoff drivers. I believe it's Blaze McKinney. I don't see him on the leaderboard.
Oh, yes. I felt like we were missing someone. Couldn't quite put my finger on it. So you're down 1, left with 3 out of the bubble, so 7 in total, trying to race their way in. Of course, Peyton Howell not doing the best at the moment. He needs to right the ship. He's +2. Needs to start chipping away at the drivers up in front of him. Let's go back up to this battle here amongst 3 championship competitors, all fighting for 3rd place.
Yeah, on top of Blaze McKinney being out, no Tyler Geary, no Kwame Scott, and then no Cameron Hearn as well. Understand Hearn has hardware issues for that machine, so not going to be able to see him tonight, maybe tomorrow night or maybe Thursday night. But Michael Curran going to complete the pass on Seth Knoll for the moment. Going to hold on to fourth and just continue to run that outside lane. Knoll's going to try sending it on the bottom again. Meanwhile, outside the top 10, you got the 51 of Ricky Springer and the 2 of Greg Mitchell going to be side by side for 13th, coming off turn 4. Robertson scraping the wall back there. Comes Oates all the way to the bottom.
And remember, Oates had the EOL, so he started near the back of the field. He's made some fantastic progress. He's already up to 15th. He started from around 30th position, so this is a great climb forward. Almost maybe too great a climb forward. We've seen a lot of comers and goers with this package and this style of racing. You push a little bit too hard, end up dropping to the back. But Oates, I mean, he did qualify up in second, so there's definitely pace in that 45 Ford Mustang as he works the bottom. Springer was able to get around the 2 of Greg Mitchell. Oates able to do the same, and here comes Douglas Newbigging. Solid battle for 15th place at the moment.
Yeah, almost got into the 41 of Tyler Nichols. And Mime just made slight contact with him coming off turn 4. It got very tight there. Jonathan Oates going to look underneath Ricky Springer, trying to take another position away. And I actually like this because, again, he did start in the back with that EOL, but he knows how his car is handling in traffic, whether it's on the top, middle, or the bottom lane, which seems to be the lane that he likes to use for the time being. But that 45 car is starting to take some, put the rest of the field on notice as he's got Ricky Springer on his toes, trying to keep him behind.
Ricky Springer close to him, close to his quarter panel exiting the corner. Guys playing with inches. Of course, that's where you get the speed as he continues to work on the bottom, trying to find a way around the 51. A lot of the rest of the field sorting themselves out. David Weishart over the back at Edward Shearer Jr. trying to find some way around. Battle for 8th with them. And really, most of the leaders sort themselves out. This is really where most of the action is, in the middle of the field.
Yeah, a lot of side-by-side action still in the around the top 15 part of the field as Greg Mitchell is going to hold off Ricky Springer on the 51, who's on his way towards the back. Newbigging getting around him. He's going to be 3 wide now with Okrezik on the bottom. Tyler Nichols in the middle, but that outside lane keeps him ahead for the time being. As looking at the lap times here after about 15 laps, about 6 to 7 tenths of a second of tire fall off. Some guys it's half a second, but the 7's lead has closed him quite largely as the 73 Nichols is closing in.
He is closing in and knocking on the door. There's Travis Beckner up ahead. He's trying to fight to stay on the lead lap, just hoping and praying for a caution. So can kind of reset himself with the rest of the field. Otherwise, this drive-through is really, really going to hurt him should he fall a lap down. Of course, Jeremy Miller is already 1 lap down in 33rd. Beckner just 1 position ahead in 32nd. And this dirty air not helping the 7 out much as 73 continues to close in.
Yeah, he's running the middle lane because that 28's parked in on the outside, is trying to do all he can again to stay on the lead lap. And if that yellow does come out now, the 30 would get the free pass. But unless the 7 gets around Beckner, then Beckner will become the free pass car. And this might cost Scioli the lead because he's still rolling the bottom. Nichols going to roll the outside, try to generate a run through 3 and 4. And it might be an opportunity to pass for the lead as Beckner actually scrapes the wall.
Oh, sorry. I thought I just saw Ed Robertson drop a couple positions. Thought something was happening back there. Continuing to look up here for this battle for the lead. Of course, 73 of Jake Nichols. He has nothing to worry about. Locked into the next round, of course, with that green number next to his name. Scioli, he doesn't necessarily need to win, just needs to finish well and better than the rest of his competitors. He's got a decent point cushion. I want to say, from my memory, about 9-point lead heading into this round. Ahead of 5th place in the points, because Scioli is 4th. So there's a little bit of a buffer, not much, but as long as he finishes well, he will be moving on.
Yeah, but you see the other playoff drivers that are there as well. Connor Horn 3rd, Michael Curran 4th. They entered below as well, so they're in a good spot to where they can get a lot of points. But again, the 7 can't really lose too much positions, otherwise it's going to be costly for him. So just got to stay on his toes, like Slaughter and Shearer Jr. duking it out for the 8th position. Shearer on the bottom. Slaughter going to get the run on the outside. They're going to stay door to door. Yeah, it's actually for the 9th spot. I don't know if I said 8th or 9th, but they're still duking it out. Nichols still trying to find a way around Scioli through the lap car, Travis Beckner.
And a battle behind them. As you can see on the bottom of the screen, Scully able to get around. Nichols trying to do the same, but it's a 1, 2, 3, 4 car battle for third place in behind. Connor Horn trying to make that car as wide as possible.
Yeah, Curran still rolling on the outside lane. Knowles going to continue to go on the bottom. Meanwhile, Philip Groner, another Solar Flare affiliate driver, running in the 6th position. He's just going to follow the coattails of the 24. Maybe dive through the middle just to get a little bit of clean air on the nose. Matheson on the bottom there, as well as David Weishart on the outside lane. They're really good gaggle of cars from about 3rd to 8th on the racetrack, as now we're in single file before heading into 3.
Riding out the nose of Philip Groner, and actually not too far behind Groner is Jake Matheson as well. Currently locked in, well, not locked in, but currently to the good. He's sitting 3rd in the points. He is trying to do the mental math in my head. He's 15 points ahead of the cutoff line.
Indeed, yep, that is correct. So, in a pretty good spot to advance to the championship 4, but we still have over 100 laps remaining. Anything can happen during that time, as Philip Groner is trying to get around on the outside, just like Scioli. Well, actually, Nichols trying to get around Skyline on the outside lane. They got through the lap car of Beckner, which now it's going to be the problem for Connor Horn, Michael Curran, and others are closing in on this.
Yep, so now they're going to have to potentially deal with Travis Beckner a lap down, although I feel like now that the 28's a lap down might put up less of a fight. Potentially less of a fight, we'll have to see with the Beckner. And then this battle continues amongst this trio of drivers. Again, the 42 to 24 outside the points. Even though they're running extremely well, they will be kicked out if things are to finish as they run. It shows you how competitive this playoff field is.
Yeah, Seth Knowles still rolling on that bottom, and Curran and Connor Horn just kind of using that outside lane again. The run on the corner exit is what's keeping these guys in for the time being, but as long as Knoll can just get alongside the quarter panel of Curran, he'll still be there and still be fighting on that bottom. And speaking of bottom, there is Slaughter. Actually, no, that is Matheson still using the bottom, trying to get around Philip Groner. And actually, Seth Knoll might have had a moment, but we have a yellow on the racetrack. Looks like Bailey Turner was involved.
Yeah, I saw him slow. I didn't realize the caution came out, but I'm going to assume it was because of the 25. Ooh, I saw a piece of that there. Things got interesting here with the 8 car of Bell. And off of turn 2, the 8 came down low, hooked the 25 into the wall. He went. And Bailey Turner then went for a spin to the inside. And it has just not been the luck for Bailey Turner this season, and it's going to continue that way.
Yeah, I'm not sure if the 8 had contact with Garrett Grant from behind on the corner exit. I know we got a little bit tight there, but just a little bit of a weird incident as we look at the rear bumper.
Took a look at that because it did look like he did get hooked. So this will tell us here. It's the 5 coming off the corner, maybe. Oh, yep, there's the tap. Just a small tap enough to upset the 8, and we already seen these guys are on the edge of grip. So there we go, and so into the 8 he went, and the 8 went into the 25. So that kind of solves that. We'll see how the admins roll that though. Yes, pit stops underway. No surprise here. Everyone coming in, and I imagine everyone's going to be taking 4 tires and fuel.
Yeah, I'm not sure if anyone would ponder taking 2 this early in the going. Maybe like a last, maybe like a last restart decision, as some guys are gaining positions. Sometimes some guys are losing positions, so we'll have to see who the big winners and losers are. But from what I'm seeing, not too many losers, just a lot of guys coming out in the same spots.
Ooh, I think it's Cyber Jr. Was he a bad boy? I think it looks like it. He's dropping to the back. That's unfortunate because he had a top 10 car running there. And unfortunately, he was a naughty boy in pit lane, so he will be relegated to the back. This caution was big, though, for Travis Beckner. You can see on the bank he got the free pass. So he'll be back on the lead lap with everyone else. And
I think Miller can take wave around, and he'll be.
Yeah, I think that's what I think we're going to see this 30 do. I think that's the best call for him to make. Just kind of hope things work out. Trying to recover from that, and then of course he came down not once but twice. So that put him definitively one lap down. But from the rest of it, looks like everyone's out okay. Other than Everett Street Jr., looks like everyone else got out without incident. The order seems to remain the same. Skyley, Nichols, Horn, Curran, and Knoll will remain your top 5. I want to take this chance to thank our replay sponsor, Henry County Motorsports Park. Racing's back at Henry County Motorsports Park. Join us on November 16th to see the inaugural Craig Montesi Senior Memorial Race for factory stocks, Crusoe late models, street stocks, and more. Tickets are $15 for adults with discounted prices for seniors, teens, and kids. Ages 5 and under are free. Come see racing at the southernmost dirt track in America, located in Clewiston, Florida, off U.S. Highway 27. Visit henryracing.com for more info. And you just saw the flagman of that track, Travis Beckner, get his wave around. Gonna find where on earth. There he is. 32nd. Coming off pit lane, was able to get a free pit stop as well.
Indeed, and that November 16th date is the last one for November until we have a couple more in December 6th and 7th. Other than that, that's the last events for Henry County Motorsports Park for this season. But like Vinny mentioned, you go to henryracing.com. They have a slate of 2025 schedule released already from January to looks like they got everything. Actually, I'm looking through on the website. They literally got from January 3rd to December 6th. So the entire 2025 schedule for Henry County Motorsports Park is on the website. So you go check that out and plan a date to visit the Speedway. Should be fun. I know it's fun for Travis. He gets to sit up in the flag stand and watch the different types of racing vehicles go around and gets to wave the flag every once in a while, unless we get really no yellows at that race. Then it's just the green flag and maybe the blue flag to move lap cars out of the way, and then the white flag and the checkered flag.
He gets paid to watch the race.
Yeah, I mean, best seat in the house.
Right. I honestly wish iRacing, that's like the one thing I wish that they would add. I know that they'll never add because it's just not worth the development resources, but I would love for them to allow you to be a VR flagman. I would love to do that. I'm sure I'm not alone with that. There's probably very few people that want to do that, but I would definitely want to do that. We'll see actually the flagman, though, as he's getting ready. He's got the green flag in hand with James Scully and the rest of the field approaching to take the first restart of the night. Coming lap 30, we're green again once more at Kansas.
Tall Sky get a good launch out of the box. It puts everyone in a pickle behind him. Horn and Nichols are door-to-door for a second. A lot of two-wide action heading through 1 and 2. Now that 7's trying to drive away from everyone before it's too late.
Trying to, like you mentioned, trying to drive away from the rest of the field. Connor Horn trying to take advantage of the restart, have a chance to get at the 73 and Nichols because he knows he needs to move. He needs to move quickly with these fresh tires.
As we're looking throughout the rest of the field, Weissart tap at the wall on corner exit there. Michael Curran trying to make the most of his run on the outside lane. Matheson, that was really close to the bumper of Knoll. Almost swiped it across going into turn 1. He's going to have a shot on the inside for 5th.
That was very close. Almost hooked the one on the front straightaway. You can see Connor Horn not able to get past the 73. Has to settle for 3rd place at the moment. Michael Curran in 4th. Knoll in the middle with Matheson and Groner working the bottom. And then up on the top, Adam Cabot. Didn't recognize him with a change in paint scheme on that machine. Running in 7th in the 07.
Yeah, he started all the way back in about 24th position, but he's had a rocket ship of a race car as well. He's trying to enter the top 5. He's got that outside lane rolling. He's already worked his way up to 7th. Looking to get around Matheson for 6th and have a shot on Seth Knoll for 5th.
He will do so. A hard charge for the 07 up one more spot. See Brad Slaughter up on the top side. He's also trying to ride the wall and make some moves. Now Jonathan Oates, he got a fantastic run in the first stint. Got some fresh tires. I know he's up there. He's ready to reclaim that 2nd place spot. Have a chance to fight for the win here. He's got a fast car tonight.
He's trying to poke his nose through the middle of Brad Slaughter there, and Philip Groner door-to-door for the 8th position, but he'll just take it to the outside lane. Meanwhile, in the 10th spot, actually now going to swap hands from Jonathan Oates to Brad Slaughter for the moment. It's going to be up for grabs. Connor Okrezik on the bottom there, just outside the top 10, and a little further up the road, the top 5 position up for grabs again. Adam Cabot, Jake Matheson actually going to go door-to-door for 6th. For the time being, Oates and Slaughter still door-to-door for 9th.
And a great run for Jake Matheson. Goes to the bottom of the racetrack. Adam Cabot up on top. But, of course, you've seen that run off the corner is too hard to beat. There's Matheson having to yield that spot in behind. There is Jonathan Oates trying to defend his spot from Brad Slaughter up to 9th for him. It actually gets held up a little bit by the 11 of Groner entering the corner.
Still a lot of guys want to go in that outside lane, get the run off the corner exit. Meanwhile, not too far back, Peyton Howell, he's worked his way up to 14th. Saw him making some moves in the back, and again had that, well, he actually didn't get a lap time in, but the 52 is in a bad spot. He enters 8th in the points, but no Blaze McKinney, so that works out for him. A little boost of confidence as he tries to close into the championship 4. He's working on his way for the 13th position, trying to get around. That is Tyler Nichols in the 41 on the outside.
We saw Adam Cabot get door-to-door with Seth Knoll for a moment. Whoa, almost gets turned around by Matheson. Matheson really close with the bumpers on this restart. Almost hooked the 1, almost hooked the 07 there as Cabot goes back up high, Matheson down low. But going back to Peyton Howell, it's important for him. He wasn't really making a lot of forward progress, at least the last time we checked in on him. Now it's finally up near the top of the order in the top 15, so can try to see if he can get up here and race with his the other 6 playoff drivers who've been running very, very well this race.
Gave a little pressure to Matheson there through 3 and 4. Thought he was going to make contact with the bumper. Not so much as, whoa, he might rub a little fender for the 11 of Philip Groner. They might have made a little donut action there on the side of those race cars, and Brad Slaughter had a good view of that. Matheson shuts the door on Groner. Going to give the run on the outside, heading into 3. Slaughter's still rolling that outside, but you can just see, again, the different lanes being used. We got one car in the middle, a few on the bottom, and then some more on the outside.
Brad Slaughter trying to get a great run off the corner, see if he can get around Jonathan Oates. He goes off the screen and will have to fall in behind the 88 for now. There's also Connor Krezik in behind. He's been throwing some moves here and there in the number 14 machine. Fairly quiet race for him so far. Though he started all the way back in 27th, he's climbed forward up to 11th.
Yeah, him and Weishart are swapping the 11th position. As he's still working on the outside lane, Weishart is trying to get around Krezik and trying to make a charge inside the top 10 again. He had a good qualifying speed, but throughout the race he's made contact with the outside wall. Starting to take a little notice to that as Connor Horn has his hands full for second. Curran on the bumper of him. Nichols on the bottom. They're going to duke it out for 3rd down the back.
You got so distracted with what's going on behind that we missed Connor Horn and Curran getting around Jake Nichols. As he's now stuck back in 3rd. 4th place as he's trying to sort it out with Michael Curran. Skyley's gotten out to a 7th, 8th, 10th of a second lead as we ride off the bumper of Connor Horn. Trying to defend 2nd place, but of course he's trying to defend, but also see if he can catch the 7 of Skyley and prevent him from checking off into the distance.
Yeah, Skyley's been checking out ever since that jump he got on the restart as the leader. Almost a second clear from Connor Horn. Curran and Nichols still door-to-door for 3rd, heading into 3, and behind them they're still duking it out for 5th. Knoll trying to keep Cabot at bay.
Nichols going all the way down the apron. Curran trying to go up on top. Barely has a quarter panel present. Horn will have to give him the spot. But Jake Nichols will take the spot ahead in 2nd place. He did a fantastic move on the front straightaway.
Still there on the outside of Connor Horn.
Oh.
They're gonna rub fenders down the backstretch. Made a little contact. Connor Horn's just gonna settle in line and live to see another lap.
For now, we'll see if they can get very ugly for both the 42 and the 24. They're in positions where if things continue, they're going to have to essentially win this race. Might not be able to point their way in with the way Noel Matheson and Scaoli are running. So they're going to have to really push it. And the stakes are extremely high for these two. Because if they don't perform here tonight, it's over. And it's going to be all said and done. So they need to find some way back around the 73 and some way to catch the 7 while also keeping this 1 of Seth Nolan behind, who's trying to join his teammates near the front.
Indeed, as the battles continue on the racetrack, Connor Horn, Seth Knoll still going at it for the 4th spot. Horn going to keep that outside approach. Knoll going to send it deep on the bottom. Going to try and slide up. He's not going to have enough to clear the 42. So Horn's going to get the run on the outside. Meanwhile, behind, Matheson's still fighting with Philip Groner for the 7th spot. And he'll have a look to the inside of Adam Cabot for 6th, heading into turn 3. And then it's still door-to-door throughout the rest of the field. And looking at that 52 of Jonathan Oates below the 41 of Tyler Nichols, they're still duking it for the 13th position, I believe. He's still trying to get his way around the 41.
Yeah. Maynell trying to fight for 13th. That is Tyler Nichols in 13th position. Eliminated from the playoffs a couple rounds ago. So he remains there. Gaggle car is just around 10th place. As the field slowly thins and sorts itself out. Jonathan Oates trying to break in back inside the top 10. Riding on the bottom lane.
Still going through. Cabot is still in 6th, and that battle for 4th will not cease to exist yet. The 1 of Knoll still sending it. He's going to complete the pass on the bottom. Connor Horn going to cross him over, heading down the back stretch. He'll have a look to the inside, just enough of the quarter panel on the left rear of the 1, and he'll send it into 3.
And Cabot's got his best seat in his house. Gets to watch Connor Horn work his way on through. His teammate trying to make the pass. You can see blows being traded between both of them. One goes high, one goes low. They switch around and then rinse and repeat. And actually, here comes Adam Cabot now looking to the inside.
Cabot got a good run there. Not going to be enough to get alongside the 42, but he's got Matheson and Groner all over his bumper, and then gap between 8th and 9th place. Connor Okrezik holding that 9th spot. Weishart in 10th. Jonathan Oates 11th. Tyler Nichols 12th. And Peyton Howell was 13th. He hit the wall through 3 and 4. He's going to lose 1 spot, maybe 2. As that's Mason Kane giving the bump to Brad Slaughter in the 88. Trying to 2-car tango down the front stretch.
They're trying to make something happen, trying to take the advantage of the situation. Brad Slaughter will try to go on through. Mason Kane trying to see if he can follow through. And actually, I don't think Brad Slaughter will be able to get there. He won't. Howell comes back with a hard charge on the outside.
They'll settle in, and now Howell will go to the inside, or rather the middle. Now he'll go all the way to the inside, try to see where his car can make up any time whatsoever. On board with Greg Mitchell in the 2. He's 17th right now. He's slowly but methodically working his way through, trying to get around Douglas Dubiggy for 16th. The 71 on the inside still putting up the battle.
Up ahead and seeing things get more dire for Connor Horn as he's potentially about to be passed by his teammate, but not only his teammate, his other fellow playoff competitor, Jake Matheson. As he tries to work to the bottom, Philip Groner, Solar Flare teammate, in behind as well. So it's not particularly looking great for Connor Horn at the moment. Looks to be swamped by position.
Almost making contact going into turn 1. The 54 still going to have a send to the inside. Going to try and clear up on corner exit. He'll be able to do just that, and Matheson will take a little sigh of relief there. Meanwhile, in the back, you see Peyton Howell. He was looking to the inside of Tyler Nichols. He's still going to look below him again. He actually got around the 33 of David Weishart. So the 52 finding something throughout the last couple of laps as he's...
Whoa!
Whoa! Slaughter going in the grass. He's going to be mowing the front stretch grass, and we're still green. But a wild moment for the 88 of Slaughter, and he's going to try to rejoin on the racetrack safely.
Did a great job slowing it down. Didn't do it, Dave Blaney. Take a look and see what happened off of turn 4. Weishart looks like he might have got a little bit loose. Came down. And then a hip check to the 88 machine. Take a look, and I think Mason Kane got a pretty decent view of that.
Yeah, Kane got into the outside wall from that. Not sure if he was just checking up from it, but the 33 had a good bit of room between himself and the outside wall. I guess he thought he was going to hit it. And there's the contact there between Slaughter and Weishart. Kane getting in the wall, but again, everything's still green. But the 88 of David Weishart, he's fallen way behind now as he's actually coming down pit road just to get new tires on and just trying to run some hot laps. He's actually going to overslide his pit, but actually he's calling it a night.
Yeah, I was going to say, it almost looked like he was actually kind of speeding down pit lane. I think he was just frustrated. So, fortunately, going to be a night over for the 88 machine early on as he's out of contention. Taking a look here at a battle going on the racetrack, though, Adam Cabot, Philip Groner duking out for 7th place.
Still up for grabs as Cabot's going to get swiped upon by the Groner machine. Don't think he'll take too kind of that. So he'll live to see another lap as Groner's going to run the outside. Cabot will go all the way down low and try to block the run from the 14 of Okrezik. And there's Jonathan Oates back there, still running in the 10th spot.
I think Mason Kane just hit the wall. Here comes Ricky Springer working his way around, taking advantage of the situation. I haven't really talked a whole lot about the 51 machine of Ricky Springer. He's had a fairly quiet race. As I say that, you can hear the tires screaming as there says he's a little bit sideways off of turn 2.
Yeah, running in the 15th spot. He was working his way up towards that. I don't even think he got a starting time in. He was in 30th, so he's had to come from quite a bit ways back, but he's about halfway through in the 15th position, so still trying to feel things out and see if he can put his car in the top 10 position. As, again, Sky Ole's still running away with this. 1.5 seconds separating him and Jake Nichols, the lap times. They are over 1 second of tire fall off, about 1.2 to 1.3. Jake Nichols has a handful, though, with Seth Knowles still trying to get around him for second.
Yeah, Solar Flare, it's looking fantastic for them. 1, 2, and 3. Of course, one driver already locked into the playoffs. And trying to see if they can get at least one more locked in. And for them, this would be fantastic to have 3 drivers moving on to the final round of the playoffs. That's a 3/4 shot, a 75% chance of them taking home a championship. And they have just been the team to beat by a huge margin. It's not even been really close in the team standings. That's kind of why we stopped reporting it for a while. It's effectively been wrapped up for a while now. They've been performing phenomenally.
Yeah, Solar Flare, they've been on another level. I mean, they have I'm looking at the team standings right now. They are 252 points ahead of the next team, which is Slinger Racing Graphics Esports. And interesting thing to note, it looks like that Swan Motorsports will lose their charters again. The team that finishes 9th in the standings, which means dead last, they lose their charters for the upcoming season, and they are 173 points back from Tank Racing, so looks like they're going to be in a tough spot. Tank Racing holding on to 8th, but only 3 teams have accumulated over 1,000 points. That is obviously Solar Flare Racing, Slinger Racing Graphics Esports, and Powerhouse Racing, as Connor Horn still running in the 5th spot. He enters tonight below the cutoff line by about 9 points over current leader James Scioli. Not good for him. Not good for Michael Curran either, as they're both below the cutoff. And up the road, here we go, side by side for second.
Side by side for second. Looks like Seth Knowles able to get enough purchase alongside and on through past Jake Nichols. He's going to have a shot to try to chase down. He wants to lock himself in. Instead of James Scioli. We'll see who's going to be the one to take it home at the end. A little bit further back, Connor Kresick, Adam Cabot exchanging blows for 8th place.
Yeah, Cabot's been trying to keep the 14 at bay for a while, but...
Whoa!
Oh, they're going to hit the fenders between the two. 07 got into the wall. The 14 got into the 07 because of that, and they're still door-to-door for the position. Jonathan Oates, again, a good view of it. The 14's going to slide up. The 07's going to cross him over through turn 2 and down the back.
This could get ugly. It's going to get ugly.
Oh!
Door hip check into the 14. Uh-oh. I think this is just getting started.
Obviously, that carried over from turn 4, and Jonathan Oates, again, the innocent bystander, just trying to run away from all this, as he is essentially the person breaking up the fight, but I don't think he wants to be in the middle of this right now. This might lead to a yellow if the 14 gets back to the 07.
I was going to say, while we have a moment in time, I'm going to take a good chance to look at what happened there. And like you mentioned, this really started off at turn 4. Between these two, just right there. Cabot hit the wall, then they hit on the straightaway, and then almost like the Cabot was trying to hip check him again on the front straightaway. And then, of course, we head fast forward to turn 2, this exit here.
Yeah, the 07 just drives up into the 14 and puts him into the wall there. So Not sure if this is going to carry over, but they are still relatively close on the racetrack as, again, the 07 just comes up into the 14. Think that he wasn't too pleased with the contact he had in turn 4.
Uh-oh.
Well, Jonathan Notes has gone around the 07, so Finian, prepare for a hockey fight to break out.
Oh, he looks like he's trying to call Edwards it. But the big dive in 3 and 4. Oh, he's getting very close to the 07. I'm not necessarily sure if he wants to wreck him at this point, but he definitely wants to race him hard. I think for Jonathan Notes, he's just glad to get ahead. He's like, I want nothing to do with this.
No, he's got the best seat in the house because this is all unfolding behind him. Again, tension's running high for some of these guys as the season runs dire. The 07 of Adam Cabot currently running in the 9th position on the racetrack and looking to see where he's at in the point standings. I might have scrolled over his name, but I did. He was in the playoffs. He's 9th in the standings. Oh, there we go.
This can get ugly if it hasn't already. Oh, another hip check from the 14 to 07. Someone's going to get turned here.
Well, one with a right hand, one with a left hook, and that might be it for now.
So for me, I would say they're even. That's what I would say. However, I don't feel like Cabot's going to feel that way.
Yeah, there's always that one person in the family that wants to get the last word, and I feel like that may be what this is turning into. But I agree. I think they both had a good chance to race each other hard, make contact a little bit, door slam one guy, but again, that 07 is going to get that outside lane and try to generate a run with it.
I almost don't want to pull off. There's nothing, not really a whole lot of action going on the rest of the track. A couple battles here and there, just trying to see these guys get close to each other once more. I think we'll take a chance to go away from it a little bit further back. Mason King, Douglas Newbigin in a little bit of a group led by Nick Silver. I haven't really mentioned the 99 car. He's quietly been running the midfield. Whoa, is Ricky Springer, his teammate, got into the wall a little bit up ahead.
Springer and Kane slamming the wall. Kane's been in the wall a good bit since that contact between Weishart and Slaughter. So he's definitely fighting an ill-handling race car as he continues to pound the outside wall. He'll do it again in turn 2. Newbigin going to drive off that and try to get away from that as Kane continues to fall through the order.
Continuing on here on quite a long green flag run is something happened to Greg Mitchell. As Kane hits the wall once more. He's got that nose bashed in on that Ford Mustang. Not sure where he had that contact, but he will get ahead of Mason Kane, who is still in the wall. He is. So I want to tell Mason Kane it's not Darlington. There's no Kansas stripe.
He's making one. Beckner got into the wall back there as well. But yeah, just the ill-handling car for the 31. Now he's got the 8 on his bumper with a strong run trying to get around him. Looks like Kane will be able to make it through turn 4 easily there, but Kane definitely looking for a yellow, just trying to get new tires and repair the damage that's done to the right side of the 31. And meanwhile, Philip Groner going to come up on Michael Curran for the 6th position. Curran will get a little run here down the back and into 3. They'll just settle in line, though.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's not exactly what Curran wants, but yeah, I don't know if we can really do much at this point. We're logging in at about 40 laps into this run. Only one caution to slow down the pace of this race so far. So I'm feeling like maybe for Curran, the tires are starting to bow out on him. We saw him and the 42 pushing really hard early on, and I think they're starting to pay the price.
Yeah, it's starting to fade back a little bit. Jonathan Notes is now closing in, and hey, look at that. The 3rd position is up for grabs. Jake and Jake's show duking it out. Matheson on the inside, Nichols on the outside. Trying to generate a run off turn 4 to see which one will have the best exit. And Nichols going to still be on the outside. Matheson going to dive it all the way down to the apron, and he'll complete the pass on Nichols heading into turn 1.
And for Matheson, just trying to make up for what could have been last season, when pretty much flawlessly all season long was the dominant car last season, and then only to lose out on an internet disconnection in the championship race. So he's just trying to hope for better here, trying to lock himself in. He's going to make it in on points as they run. They're running a great job in 3rd, but of course he, I think, wants to get another win to his name As another 2 seconds he needs to make up in order to do that. He's currently sitting in third, so almost there. Back Connor Horn. Philip Groner now catching the 42 car. He's not done yet.
No, he's got some unfinished business that he would like to settle with, as 42 and the 11 are going to be close enough to duking it out for the 5th position. Horn still holds that spot. Runner running in the 6th position, and looking through the 14 and the 07, they're about a couple car lengths between each other.
I'm glad you're also keeping an eye on it. I was looking on the relative as well, trying to see where those two are at. I want to say the dust has settled on that fight for now, because they've been close and no other shenanigans have occurred. There's Jeremy Miller working his way around. He actually had to come into pit. Remember, he stayed out. So he came into pit on lap, 65-ish, so I think that was kind of really pushing the limits of the fuel tank. Unfortunately, caution didn't come out for him before that. Further down the order, Tyler Nichols, Nick Silver working for a position. And where is Peyton Howell? Oh, he's right ahead of us in 11th.
Oh, close to that wall in corner exit, but Peyton Howell knocking on the door of that top 10. Meanwhile, behind him, he's driving away from Nick Silver. Tyler Nichols, 12th and 13th on the racetrack. Weissart going to give a little momentum boost to the 41. And
sorry, this battle's close.
Side, yeah, this battle's still going on. Oates now is just going to settle in and try to pass not only Philip Groner, but see if he can get around Connor Horn as well.
Yeah, I was expecting Oates to come up in a little bit. I wasn't expecting to catch both of them and try to pass both at the same time, but here comes the 45. Really showing where that qualifying time came from. And again, he had a EOL at the start of this race, qualified up in second, but had on the wrong driver. But was relegated back there. You see, to 27th was the lowest position he was in, and then drove up to the front. And now here he is fighting to get inside the top 5.
And he's trying to get the outside lane. Ooh. He's about as close as you can be without hitting the wall. Meyer scraped it a little bit. And he's going to have to back off and let the 11 have the spot back. But good news for us behind him. Well, actually, it's starting to break away a little bit now. The 14, the 07. Oh, whoa. Car low. I think that was Ben Pierce just trying to get out of the way.
You are correct about that. It is Ben Pierce getting out of the way. Not sure what's... Oh, is he out of... I was going to say maybe he's out of fuel or something, but... He came in with everyone else, so I'm not sure what's going on with the 65. Whatever it is, something happened recently. So it being a little bit quiet on the racetrack, trying to figure out what happened to the 65. If he had maybe a smack off the turn 4 wall that's been catching out a lot of drivers, hit it there. Might have hit it in the wrong place, and the handling's gone from that car. There he is on pit lane.
Yeah, that looked really odd, but he's going to pit and try to get that repaired and get back on the racetrack soon. As well, looks like we got a couple other guys who did they pit?
Did we miss something? I see Okresic. Sorry, I see Okresic and Adam Cabot on pit lane. And oh boy. Man, the one time we look away from these, we're like, oh, it's fine. You know, they shook virtual hands. But nope, there it is. There was the tap into the 14. This is all under green. And off they both went careening to the inside wall. That's a hard hit for the 14.
And that did not bring out a yellow. I noticed that 2 names disappeared. I didn't know which 2 names they were. I thought they did too, but... I mean, they kind of did. Just not. That's not how you want to go.
After a violent wreck to the inside wall, they came into the pits. Take a ride on board with the 07.
No, I figured this wasn't done yet. Someone had to have the last word in.
I mean, I figured at that point, someone was going to bonsai charge into one of these corners and take them out, not methodically work their way back. So I figured the dust was settled, but now there's just dust and debris on pit lane between both of them. And I imagine the 07 getting a call up to the hauler before this race is over.
I think they're both getting a call up to the hauler. I mean, I thought that it was going to continue, but then I took your words and thought, okay, yeah, maybe they will let this... Oh, wow. Almost had some more dust.
One drama ended, another one about to start here as 52 almost got close quarters with the 41. Tyler Nichols, Ricky Springer working their way on through. Peyton Howell looks like he's struggling at the moment. Not sure he had a poor run off turn 4, but he's paying the price. Here he goes 3 wide now. Erasure Jr. working around. He's a lap down, actually, from coming into the pits. So we're seeing the effect of fresh tires.
He's pitting.
He is pitting. Interesting.
That's why he backed out. But yeah, going back to that, even after the two made contact with each other, Cabot and Okrasik, they were still running inside the top 10, regardless of the blows that were exchanged between the two. So they easily could have went on and just handled their business, went about, possibly had a top 10 day, both of them, but instead, someone had to get the last word in, and now neither of them will get the result that they want. And
the admin is now going to get the last word.
yeah, there you go.
So with that incident, we remain green. It had remained green for the last 50-some-odd laps. As Greg Mitchell looks to make a dive down on the 33, and Michael Curran is down on pit lane, one of the first of the leaders to come on down. I like this call. I think this is good. He needs to do something a little bit different because he's in a situation where he needs to beat the competition. So we'll see how this plays out. Has a fresh rubber to work with, and I imagine we're going to see maybe a knock-on effect with some other drivers potentially going to come on down to cover him off.
Yeah, it's close to half the distance in the run. Weishaupt might have sped there on pit road, but yeah, we're at around, I think he pitted at 53 laps into the run. Some guys are on 54. Seth Berger, he definitely sped.
He's trying to slow it down. We'll see how that worked out for them. There's Peyton Howell. He's coming on down for service. He's back on the track. Michael Curran getting back up to race speed. Travis Beckner, he's out and away from pit road as David Weishardt's in his box. Appear to see if Weishaupt got a penalty for that. We'll see once the left sides go down if he's going to remain stuck in his box or if he's good to go. And yep, that's a penalty for the 33, and I imagine the same for the 77 of Berger. He's also stuck in his box. So if you didn't practice pit road entry, well, now you're going to have to do the real thing in the race and hope you slow down in time because we already saw 2 penalties already on green flag pit stops as they start.
Yeah, this is a challenging track to go and try to get down pit road and whatnot. So the corner here, I mean, it stops at the end of the racetrack, but it still applies. It's 20 degrees of banking. Unless you're all the way on the outside trying to come down and make the pit stop then and there, I'm not sure what else it could be other than the transition, obviously, from 20 degrees of banking to about 0 on the apron. Maybe the transition gets the car a little bit upset through the transition. So we'll have to see if that plays into effect for anyone else, including the playoff drivers that are trying to fight for a chance at a championship.
Over halfway through this race, as the pit stops begin to cycle out, want to thank Elite Entertainment. Add some life to the party this fall with Elite Entertainment. Located in Boiling Springs, South Carolina, Elite Entertainment provides high-quality van production to entertain at any location, including karaoke, singo, music bingo, and more. Visit Linktree/Elite Entertainment LLC for all contact info. Let's look at Jonathan Oates trying to work on the back of Philip Groner. No dice for him as a couple cars working their way around with the fresh tires. Here comes Ed Rusher Jr., speaking of which, he's the first car 1 lap down after pitting for fresh tires early on. He's been out on the track now 18 laps on these set of tires compared to everyone else working almost 60 laps on their tires.
Indeed, as he's working on the outside lane and closing up on Jake Nichols just with ease on those fresher tires. So still going to be interesting to see when the rest of the leaders come down pit road. But there you see how many laps these guys have been on their current set of tires. A good bit of drivers. There comes Greg Mitchell going to come on pit road, and someone else behind him I think is coming to make a pit stop. In front of him it was the 51 of Ricky Springer. Behind him it was Garrett Grant along with Nick Silver coming down to make a stop.
A couple more drivers coming down to pit lane to make their stop. Now we're going to see where they end up in the order. It's still a slow trickle, as you see actually on the racetrack. Philip Groner passing Nichols for position. So 73. Normally we usually see the 73 Nichols the best, one of the better drivers when it comes to saving their tires for the long run, but the 73 not doing particularly good on this run. I guess he figured it might be a shorter run.
Yeah, that last lap he had 34.227. That was the slowest out of those in the top 5. Skyley 33.706, Seth Knoll 33.795, and the other two, Matheson and Groner, 34.8 between the two. So, going to be interesting seeing when the 73 will come down pit road, and we'll see what the lap time is that he ran. Looking through, it was a 31.4, so not too bad. I mean, the car in front of him, Groner, had a 34 flat. Reese Schaefer coming off pit road.
And so that makes everyone up to 14th has come down to pit. Still waiting on a couple more drivers to come down to pit lane. Bailey Turner fighting side-by-side for position with Matthew Bell as Travis Beckner works by on fresh tires. There's Jeremy Miller doing much of the same. Oh, and someone coming down to pit lane. A max service? That was a max service. Oh, Bryce Senizak in the 09.
Coming through to get his service done. Obviously, you're in a better situation tire wear-wise whenever you pit later, so interesting to know as we're nearing 50 to go. Here comes Jake Nichols and Philip Groner. They're coming in to make their stops.
Solar Fair drivers now finally biting it. I gotta say, this has been a very, very long sequence down on pit lane. It's been a very slow trickle. You know, you usually see a couple cars coming down in succession, but it's been only a couple cars a lap, if any, that have been coming down to pit road. But it looks like more and more cars are starting to bite. I think that means we're approaching the end of the fuel window. We're looking at essentially a 50-lap run to the end, so this kind of makes a lot of sense to come in just about now. I was trying to see who else came down. Bailey Turner, there's James Skyley surrendering the lead. He's down for service. Seth Knoll still out there on the racetrack, working through turns 1 and 2.
Yeah, trying to play this the long way as we stay out later. We'll have fresher tires for the finish. That is, if we go green to the end. And again, we went caution-free a season ago, but we already had an early yellow about 25 laps in. Other than that, been green, not clean.
Mostly
the 14
clean.
and the 07 can attest to that, but we've had some guys scrape the outside wall and door bang a little bit here and there, but had a wreck that wasn't a yellow between Connor Kresick and Adam Cabot. Those two going to be... Whoa, Connor Horn. Not sure if he sped or not, but the tire's locking up before the yellow commitment cone. Going to be interesting for the 42.
Take a look at as he comes on down. Doesn't seem overly concerned, so I would imagine he is good to go into his pit stop. It's a matter of waiting for service to be done. Should be good to go. And effectively for these drivers, this is going to be their final stop of the race. Jack's dropped, and off and away goes Connor Horn.
Well, good stop there for the 42. Meanwhile, Seth Knoll has come down pit road. Same with Jonathan Oates, Brent Pugari, Jake Matheson. They're all in. Actually, Brent Pugari is not in.
These guys pushing 65 laps on the tank. For these guys, they're all going to have fresh tires to the end. Brent McCarry is still running out there, hoping and begging for a caution. Emerson Arden doing much of the same. Well, the remaining two drivers will come down to pit lane, but as they run, it'll be Michael Curran that'll cycle out to be the leader, followed by Everett Sherry Jr. in second, Peyton Howell in third, then James Skyley fourth, and Seth Nolan fifth.
Emerson Arden coming down to make a pit stop.
There he is into his stall.
Yeah, he'll get in just fine. Michael Curran and Peyton Howell banking on a yellow to come out here to try and confuse the mess out of this and try to benefit with the freshest tires of the bunch. But there is Brent Pugari in the smoke show going on the pit lane. I'd bet money on it that he did not make pit road speed.
And checking out from behind. And see if he made it in or not. He's definitely going to need new front tires. He locked the thing up, and yep, he got a penalty. You can see right there. Unfortunate for that. Michael Hearn will cycle out to be the leader. And he has a 6-second lead to James Gilley. In fact, we'll take a look here as he comes flying to the start-finish line. Take a look and see how the gaps are looking. So there's Michael Curran coming across the line. Then Everett Shuri Jr. is in second right there. Then Howell. Then James Scioli. Then you got Seth Knoll. And then a bunch of cars in a gaggle here. This is interesting to watch. Led by Philip Kroner, it's Matheson, Nichols, Silver, Beckner, all in one group. Henry Schaefer.
Yeah, so Curran, Shearer, and Howell pitted earlier. 15 laps on this current run for Curran and 16 for Peyton Howell. 29 for Ed Shearer Jr. Going to be interesting seeing if he can make it to the end on fuel. But yeah, so they've got the advantage now for the time being, and I guess the thought process is that the tires even out at some point, so by the time the 7 gets up there, it might be too late, but he's 5.4 seconds behind Michael Curran, as there's the 52 of Peyton Howell running in third just up the road.
Yeah, I agree with the 24 and the 52 coming in a little bit early. They had to kind of throw a Hail Mary in there. I think they're just hoping that at some point there's a late race caution, and this is going to help them out track position-wise. Here comes Howell actually racing the 17. This is for second place as the 7 of Scioli approaches from behind with fresher tires on both of them.
Yeah, that'll be a 3-car battle for the second spot here. Shearer on the outside, Howell on the inside with a fast-charging 7 of Scioli on the inside. Going to get around the 17 of Shearer Jr. just fine. How he sets up the 52 for turn 3, we'll see. It looks like he'll just go to the middle lane. Howell blocks. He'll go down low. And not much that the 52 can do. So now, about less than 5 seconds away from the leader is the 7 of Scioli, trying to close the gap and see if he can get to Michael Curran just in time.
I think he should be able to. And I think Curran's just hoping that, you know, there's someone else. There's going to be another Adam Cabot, Connor Kresick incident somewhere on the track, and it's actually going to bring out a caution, because then he'll have the track position advantage with the lead. And of course, you know, sometimes when you're out there on the front, you're on the strategy where you don't want people to wreck. I think for the 24, he needs people to have an incident, because otherwise he is going to be on the back foot as far as strategy is concerned. Seth Knowles running here in 5th, Jake Matheson 6th, Kroner 7, Nichols back in 8th in 73.
Gaggle of cars here, 6th, 7th, and 8th on the racetrack, as Jake Nichols is behind the 11, trying to, well, see if he can get around him, but also try to help as a little momentum booster for the 11, trying to close in on the 54, as Michael Curran's going to come across the stripe, and now we have 40 laps remaining in the penultimate race of Season 6 for the Area Cup Series. At Kansas Speedway, we're kind of the playoff field from 8 drivers down to 4. Those in yellow are on the outside trying to get in, and those in blue currently in at the moment. The one driver in green, Jake Nichols, he won last week at Iowa, so he's already advanced to the championship 4 round. And looking throughout the rest of the field, Ricky Springer having a solid day, start all the way back in 30th up to 12th. Greg Mitchell door-to-door with Travis Beckner, although that is actually for position. So Travis Beckner, after serving the pass-through on the initial start of the race, was trapped a lap down, had the lucky caution, the only caution of the night on lap 25, got the free pass, and he's quietly been working his way throughout the field all the way up to 15th for the time being.
Yeah, he's been slowly drifting on back. Was one of the earlier drivers to come on pit lanes. You can see him, he's struggling with the tires compared to the drivers around him. And just trying to keep something going the right direction. Some focus in his eyes, trying to keep it going in 15th. Jake Matheson, Everett Shuri Jr. is staying in position as Everett Shuri Jr. continues to drop back on his very old tires. He was one of the first drivers to come down on this sequence. He is got 37 lap old tires compared to everyone around him, around 10 to 13 laps old in their tires, as Jake Nichols works around the 11 and they both work around the 17. So up to 5th for Matheson, Nichols in 6th, Kroner 7th as they run. Checking in on the leader, Michael Curran. Gap now between him and second place, 2.5 seconds. And then another 2.5 seconds back to Peyton Howell in 3rd.
Yeah, the gap between the 7 and the 24, I mean, it 0.6 of a second difference in lap times between the 7 of Scioli and the 24 of Curran. About 11 laps difference in tires, that being the advantage going towards the 7 of Scioli for pitting later. The 54 of Matheson, he pitted a couple laps later than James Scioli, so him and Knoll, not sure if they're going to have enough time to chase down the 7, but you never know. Could get a yellow and spice things up, but the gap, wow, really dwindling as Jake Nichols running in the 6th spot and thinking about 3 laps or so, that 7's going to be the leader.
Definitely think he's going to be definitely going to catch 24 before it's all said and done. I mean, we could very much see a repeat of what we saw. But we're kind of lined up to see a repeat of what we saw last season, I should say, here at Kansas. Driver coming from back catches up to the leader, and then it's a fight to the end. I don't know if it's going to be as evenly matched, but we'll see. One thing I do know is we've got to thank the High Banks podcast, just 2 blue-collar guys, Nick and Alex, talking about NASCAR and more. Listen to episode 205 with Brad Slaughter and episode 207 with Jacob Bell. Available now on Spotify. As Jacob Bell, the gap now under 1 second between himself and Michael Curran.
Yeah, it's just a matter of time. I mean, the 24 had to do what he had to do. I mean, he entered tonight 7th heading into the playoff standings, so about 18 points behind James Scioli in the cutoff race, so had to do something different. Him and Peyton Howell. Howell entered actually 21 points below the cutoff, so again, those two just trying to do the best that they can in the situation that they're in. But the defending Cup champion just clinging onto this lead for the time being. Here comes the 7 of Scioli, massive run down the front stretch.
Yeah, for Curran, he's going to have to start getting creative here. That gap is coming down quickly. It's about an almost 10-lap difference in tire life. Just look at the way the 7 of Scioli was able to send it off in there. Riding a lower line, even gets the run off the corner better than the 24. Here he comes on the back straightaway. The 24 is defending championship hopes on the line. Can he do anything as the 7 drives off to the inside? The better tire grip to his advantage. And will clear off a turn 4. New leader, James Scioli.
Yeah, just about 30 laps to go. 32 at the line. But James Scioli, he's been the car to beat all race long. That's his 90th lap that he's led. And we're 109 laps into this race, so that just shows the dominance that he's been on. Curran has led 14 of the 109 laps so far. And who knows, maybe we get a yellow and could put him back into the mix. Could put the 52 of Howell back in as well. But for the time being, going to look throughout the racetrack. Bryce Senesac, Travis Beckner, Garrett Grant. Good little battle as the 28 wiggles off turn 2. Good positions up for grab here. This is 15th, 16th, and 17th on the track.
Yeah, as they run. Bryce Senesac just ahead. Travis Beckner under threat of getting passed by Garrett Grant with fresher tires in the number 5. Looks to the outside. Beckner not giving him anything to work with. And Connor Horn up ahead, not really able to make a whole lot of forward progress. Stuck back in 14th. And this second run has not gone well for him as Everett Shear Jr. Not sure if that was him getting loose off the corner or if he's trying to somehow warm up his tires.
Had a big moment off the turn. I mean, Garrett Grant and Travis Beckner had a smaller one, but not as big as the 17, just struggling to keep that car straight.
You can see there why. They're struggling a little bit. 131, whoa. Travis Beckner throwing his hands up in the air.
Did he?
I think he lost connection. I see him dropping off the timing and scoring. I was wondering why he threw his hands up like that. I thought he wrecked for a second, but it looks like he had the sim crash, I think, unfortunately. So that's going to be Travis Beckner out of the race.
Yeah, that's not the way he wanted his night to end. So, again, trying to make the most of his situation. He had to drive through to start the race, climbed all the way back up to around the top 15, and all of a sudden the system decided, you know what, I'm going to bed. And Travis Beckner was not ready for that, but as they say, the game's the game, and the game continues for 9th as Schaefer's trying to hold off Nick Silver for 10th, but he's got Ricardo's outside, or am I just dreaming?
Nope,
I'm not dreaming. Emerson Arden in the 57, and that is
Not for position.
for position.
So Nick Silver let him by. What were we saying, sorry?
I was just saying, good paint scheme nonetheless for Emerson Arden. Different colors.
Yeah, it was a really good paint scheme. Fortunately, not been necessarily the best of runs for the 57. Here's another look at that car. Beautiful job. Not sure if he painted that himself or whoever painted it did a great job. Running in 22nd at the moment. 1 lap down. If anything, Emerson Arden is hoping for a caution because should that happen, he'll get the free pass. 21 cars remain on the lead lap. Checking with the leader. James Chioli, he is 2.6 seconds ahead of Michael Curran. That's how much the gap separated. And now here comes third place, Seth Knoll. Trying to see if he can gain one more spot ahead of the 24.
Yeah, 24 just trying to do everything he can just to keep everyone at bay, but that one's going to be closing in and probably going to make the pass before they get to the line here. The 24 is going to run the top, the one's going to run the middle, transition down to the bottom. And that might be it for second now for the 24. Still has a good gap between himself and Jake Matheson.
And Curran, I imagine it's a frustrating feeling. He knows that he can't really do a whole lot from his position. Just kind of keep out there, keep driving around, hope someone's arm gets itchy, or maybe Chevy and Toyota decide to team up and do some shenanigans and maybe cause a yellow.
Or just let a teammate into the championship race and then lose to said teammate in the championship race.
Just playoff shenanigans. It's a helpless feeling. He knows he's just watching the laps tick down, sitting in third. And if anything, actually just keep looking at his mirror because Jake Matheson's coming up at a decent rate of speed and might potentially pass him. Jake Nichols sitting back in fifth. Philip Groner not far behind him in sixth. He's having a great run. Jonathan Oates, he's kind of settled out in seventh place. Seems to be where he's ended up at. Peyton Howell still dropping back as one of the earlier drivers to come into pit lane. He's fallen back to 8th place. Overall, this still, I think, worked out for him. He is higher than when he was when they started to pit, which I think was around 11th or 12th place. But another driver that needed a caution. Still a decent chance of it coming out. You never quite know. Connor Horn trying to work his way back up the order, trying to work past 41 and Tyler Nichols.
Yeah, he's really faded quite a bit since the pit stops have been made, and really since this race has went back green. He's running in the 12th spot right now, but again, he entered below the cutoff by about 9 points, with Scioli being ahead just by 9 points, but him being in the lead doesn't do Connor Horn any favors.
Pretty much every driver outside the cutoff window for the playoffs, Curran, Horn, and Howell, they're all looking at a caution to come out. The other four, well, Nichols, he doesn't care which way this ends up, but I imagine he wants teammates to get in, so the other four hoping that it remains green as we head just to about 20 laps to go in this thing here at Kansas. Much quieter run to the end compared to last year.
I mean, yeah, last year did go caution-free, so there's that, but we did have the photo finish between Curran and Jake Nichols, and there's Jake Matheson closing in, trying to bring a little spice to the top three battle. So with that, I'll consider this our spicy moment of the race with 20 laps to go. Well, at least this portion of the race.
Yeah,
we had it earlier with Cabin and Okrezik, but nonetheless, what was Rick Sassa's machine by the 7th Skyline. I think he's still a part of the sponsorship there, but nonetheless, head on over to rickshotSauce.com for some of the best hot sauces made locally in South Florida. You can try the Loxahatchee Classic, the Golden Garlic, Palm Beach Pineapple, or South Beach Heat. Follow the Rick's Hot Sauce Rookie of the Year battle in the Area Cup Series to see which driver will take home the $100 prize as the highest finishing rookie in the point standings, which, if I'm not mistaken, I think that's Peyton Howell. I could be wrong, but I believe it's Peyton Howell in the 52 that's leading that.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. He's had a phenomenal season. He definitely earned his way into the playoffs. He ran really consistent, got a win for himself as well. So he was consistent and got himself a win. Unfortunately, it looks like his playoff run should, unless things change drastically here in these final 20 laps, it looks like he's going to be put aside here after an unfortunate run last week at Iowa. Now, okay run today, a fairly decent run in 8th, but considering the top 5 is all playoff drivers, he needed to perform just that much better. Pretty much outright needed to win tonight to move on, as Jake Matheson works his way around Michael Curran. Curran down one more spot, back to 4th. Now Jake Nichols potentially lined up next to try to get around Michael Curran before this is all said and done. Yeah, and I was joking before when I said that unless things get spicy, that's my kind of like wink, wink, nudge, nudge to Carter Coop to throw some water on the caution button.
That's just going to malfunction.
No, hopefully malfunction and throw a yellow.
Yeah,
like that one time, what was that, at Bristol? Was that at Bristol when it was raining and supposedly the button got wet and the yellow came out?
I don't recall of this happening.
There was one race where it happened. I'm sure someone's going to mention it.
It might be Atlanta.
It could have been Atlanta. I remember this happening one time. It was just such an odd scenario. It just started raining and caution came out magically. Well, can definitely say that no rain's possible for this race. I cannot wait. That would be a lot of fun when they add rain for the oval cars.
I don't even want to picture that.
I mean, listen, it's fun. Once you give people a couple months to work with it and kind of learn how to work out it, it's worked out on the road side of things pretty well. It's a whole nother skill set. We'll see a whole bunch of different drivers up at the front. It'll just be entertaining when it starts to rain. Everyone stays out on dry ice and goes flying off into turn 1 at Martinsville. I think it'll be a grand old time.
For road racing, yeah. For ovals, not sure. But I do want to note, as this battle for 9th is heating up, the gap for the lead is dwindling. 1.4 seconds now, separating the 7 of Skylerly and the 1 of Seth Knoll.
Actually, if you extrapolate the difference, Knoll's catching Skylerly at a 10th a lap. With the amount of laps we have remaining, he's going to get there by the white flag lap. So this might be far from over. Oh, and look at that. Skylerly's in traffic as well. That's definitely going to slow him up. He's in a lot of traffic.
Yeah, 3 lap cars in front of him, and then another one a couple seconds down the road. Douglas Newbigging on the outside, going to let him through. David Weishart and Ed Robertson side by side in front of Skylerly.
Battle for position further behind. Connor Horn, Ricky Springer. As Horn continues his tear to try to break inside the top 10 at least before the checkered flag comes out. Here's Peyton Howell, Nick Silver fighting for position. Silver on the attack with the fresher tires. As he will work to the bottom. Look at James Skylerly trying to work through some lap traffic around Ed Robertson. Now here comes David Weishart. About to be put a lap down. And then Seth Knoll having to try to get through all 3 of these drivers while they fight amongst themselves.
Yeah, this still puts us in possibly a photo finish situation. Oh,
unless they wreck.
And I think Knoll scraped the wall a little bit too, coming off corner exit. But yeah, this is going to be interesting. I mean, they're literally in all 3 lanes right now. This is so similar to the finish of the Cup.
And then Robertson going to. Oh, that might be it.
That's probably all she wrote.
Yeah, I was going to say, it all depends on where you catch him off the corner, and Knoll lost a huge amount of speed. Lost, I think, about 3/4 tenths of a second coming off of turn 4. Oh, just on the front straightaway alone. And yeah, like you said, I think that might be all she wrote.
All that momentum's gone. He's going to have to try and rework.
Nick Silver sideways with Peyton Howell. This could be the caution that some of these drivers need here.
Well, not unless Peyton Howell's involved in it. That wouldn't work out for him. But nonetheless, a little fender rubbing between the 2. They're still going straight, still green. 10 laps to go. Boy.
And I think this might be far from over. Again, Nick Silver, he's got fresher tires in the 52. Arguably has the advantage in this battle, but 52, he doesn't want to let anyone buy him anymore, it seems. Trying to hold up the wall, hold up the defense for 9th place as Silver tries to look to the inside. And they remain side by side off the corner.
And Connor Horn liking this because he's closing in on this, and it'll be a possible 2 for 1 here if they still remain side by side by the time he gets there.
Just taking a quick look here, Jake Nichols, Michael Curran are in a battle up the road. It looks like Curran's off and away. Howell in the wall. Here comes Connor Horn. Ooh, a hip check between both of the championship competitors. As Connor Horn will get on through past 52 up into 10th place.
Yeah, Howell just trying to hold on and make it to the finish here at this point. He's outside the top 10 now. 24 of Curran has lost the 4th spot to Jake Nichols, just running the outside lane. And thought it was over. It's not over yet. Gap dwindling between Skyley and Knoll again with 8 to go.
Yeah, I was going to say, thought it was over. It might not be over, but I'm sure Knoll's frustrated with the way that went. He's always annoying getting blocked by a lap car, but now he's got essentially clean air between himself and Scioli. And for Scioli, I think 1, maybe 2 lap cars up ahead. Matthew Bell and the 8 and the 81 of Max Service are just up the road. Both of them in 19th and 18th, respectively.
6/10 of a second, separating the 7 and the 1 with 7 laps to go. Again, teammates duking it out for the win. Well, the second place car passes teammate compared to what happened yesterday in the finish for that race that shall not be named. But for the moment, still a battle up for grabs here outside the top 10. Greg Mitchell to the inside of Tyler Nichols, trying to get around him for the 13th position.
A couple other battles brewing. Just want to keep an eye because you never know. All things, one piece of contact to go wrong. There's 51 and 52 exchanging spots. Peyton Howell is starting to struggle more and more off the corner. Ricky Springer will get on by. And here, Greg Mitchell will stay ahead of the 41, but up ahead for the lead in the closing laps. We thought it might not be nothing, but we thought it might not be nothing twice. And Seth Knoll is still coming back on a charge on the 7 of Scioli.
Yeah, I mean, only 2 laps difference in the tires with the advantage going to Knoll, but didn't think he'd be able to close in, but he's been doing it. He's got 0.3 of a second separating him from possibly earning another win on the season with less than 5 to go. And looking at just the dominance that Seth Knoll's been on, it would be his 7th win of the season if he can get it done.
Potential 7th win of the season for Seth Knoll if he can get the pass done. For Skyley, he's just looking for his 2nd win of the season. It's going to get interesting 2 ways. The 2 lap cars up ahead and then a quicker lap car from behind with Seth Berger. As they both go low on Matthew Bell. Bell staying up high. I don't think wants to be interfered. He'll let the leaders on by. He doesn't want to interfere in this battle for the lead. Here we go. Seth Knoll is there over the bumper of the 7. 4 laps to go.
Yeah, Skyley's going to have to be driving out of his mirror now as the 1 is pouncing, ready to pounce at any moment, whether that be on the outside or the inside. Going to run the outside this time through, but he'll have a diamond to the inside of the corner. Coming off turn 4, he'll have a strong run, trying to close in the gap between him and the 7 of Skyley with 3 to go.
See Knoll trying to set up that run into turn 1. Couldn't quite get there. Will still be in behind the 7 of Skyley. Will look just a little bit low. Gets that clean air, which is crucial. Will be to the inside of the 1 off the corner. Here we go, side by side down the back straight. 3 laps to go. The side off with the 1 of Seth Knoll will dive to the inside in 3.
Yeah, whether it be a teammate or not, they're probably going to be contending for the championship next week if all things go cleanly here. But the 7 still putting up a fight on the outside at the stripe. It's Knoll. How will it be in 2 laps from now?
We'll find out. 2 laps to go. 3 miles left in this race. Seth Knoll on the bottom. James Skyley up on top. Typically the preferred line we see, but Seth Knoll's got such a good run in the middle of that corner. And even on the exit, he's not half bad.
Yeah, they're still door-to-door for the lead in 3 and 4, and Seth Berger closing in on this. He could have a factor in this, could give a momentum shift to whatever lane he chooses, whether that be inside or out, or if he'll just let the teammates battle it out. One more lap from Kansas.
Here we go, one more lap to go. Seth Knoll still on the bottom, Skyley up on top. At some point, someone's got to give. At some point, someone's got to push. You can see Skyley pushing hard in the middle of 1 and 2 off the corner.
Down the backstretch for the final time. The 1 still has a run to the inside. Going to try and side draft a little bit with his teammate. Into 3 and 4. He'll send it deep into turn 3. The 7's going to back up and try to cross him over. Here they come off turn 4. Skyoli to the inside. Knoll on the outside. They're going to be side by side at the line. They might trade paint. And here they come. The 7 of Skyoli wins. Teammates duking it out at Kansas, and the 7 upsets the 1. He punches his ticket to Atlanta, and he'll be chasing the championship next Monday night.
Whew, how about that? I'm genuinely amazed by that because I didn't think we were going to get anything close to that, but it happened 2 seasons in a row. James Skyley taking the win ahead of Seth Knoll by 17 thousandths of a second. What a duel. What a drive from Seth Knoll to get back up there. Almost had it, just missed out on it. Jake Matheson will finish in 3rd, and James Skyley in 4th. That's effectively going to be your playoff 4 moving on into Atlanta. I don't think we need really any recount on the points to tell you that. But, man, what a finish at the end here.
Yeah, the top 4 in the race are the final 4 for Atlanta. And 3 of those guys are racing for Solar Flare Racing. So, 75% chance to win the title with Jake Matheson from Slinger Racing Graphic Esports. That 25% to upset the juggernaut that is Solar Flare Racing.
You can see all 5 of the Solar Flare cars lining up on the front straightaway because they know they got 3 cars in for the championship round next week at Atlanta. And as James Skyley burns it down on the front straightaway, let's go through your finishing order here with Skyley with the win. Seth Knoll, a hard-fought battle, just a couple thousands off. Finishes 2nd with Jake Matheson in 3rd, Jake Nichols in 4th. We mentioned your playoff 4. Then on to 5th, another solid run for Solar Flare, having 4 cars in the top 5. Will finish in 5th. Michael Curran just missing out in 6th place. He's going to be eliminated. Jonathan Oates in 7th, Reese Schaefer in 8th. Connor Horn also eliminated, finishing in 9th, with Nick Silver rounding out your top 10.
And just coming up shy of that top 10 is Ricky Springer in 11th. 12th is Greg Mitchell. 13th, Bryce Senesac. 14th, Tyler Nichols. And 15th is Peyton Howell, who is also eliminated from the playoffs. Bailey Turner, Max Service, Garrett Grant, Matthew Bell, and Douglas Newbigging round out the top 20.
Moving on back to 21st, it's going to be Ed Robertson in the 64 machine. Next behind him, it's going to be Emerson Arden. Then Berger, Weishart, Miller. Shearer Jr., then Beckner, Punkario, Kresic, Adam Cabot, both of them getting entangled with each other. Finished 29th and 30th. And then we head on to the final few finishers, Ben Pierce, Mason Kane, and Brand Slaughter Jr. are the drivers that took the green flag. Take a chance to see if we can get Seth. I'll talk to Jake Matheson first. See if he's waiting. There he is. And we got with us in the booth, and number 54, Jake Matheson. Jake, we saw you. You weren't quite up there near the end, but you had a solid run. For you, I think it's just a matter of just getting a solid finish in and moving on to the playoffs, and that's exactly what you did tonight.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, going into tonight, it's all just points racing, right? You know, it's not the most fun, but it's what you got to do sometimes. So, came in, had a good points night. That's all we needed. I mean, James and Seth were just on another level. It was... I couldn't even keep up if I tried. Those guys, they put on a clinic, so good for them. They had a just phenomenal run. But yeah, all lanes were working tonight, top, bottom, middle. You can go anywhere you want. So the wicked fun race. Had a good time. We got one more coming up here, and hopefully I'm a little bit quicker than today for the next week. But we'll see. I mean, those guys were just on it. So yeah, congrats to them. Great race overall. Had a great time.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to ask. Obviously, you're trying to make up for what could have been last season. Unfortunately, you have that internet disconnect last season, and then to make things worse for you going into this race, you're effectively facing 3 guys on the same team. So, what's the plan going on to next week? It's more or less going to be essentially 3 against 1 for you.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be like that one scene from 300. They're taking the stand, and All the arrows are coming down, but we'll get the shield out. We'll try our best. Obviously, all three of them working together is going to be difficult, but we'll do what we can do. Yeah, heartbreaker last season. Really, I hate that you mentioned that. But no, I'm kidding. I'm just kidding. Yeah, heartbreaker, but we'll see what we can do. May the best driver win, of course.
I like the fighting spirit, Jake. Well, hopefully best of luck for you heading into next week.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it. Just want to thank, Ricky Springer for once again bringing me on for the team this season. Slinger Racing Graphics for putting together this beautiful machinery. But yeah, we'll be in it next week. We'll try for it, and see you there.
All right, Jake, thanks for talking to us.
Thank you.
Moving on to second place finisher, Seth Knoll. And Seth, I gotta say, didn't think you had anything for James at the end, but then we noticed slowly you were catching back up. Then you got caught in the lap traffic, you lost the gap, you drove back up again, and you fought extremely hard there with James. Unfortunately, just came up just a little bit short, but what a fantastic race there at the end.
Yeah, that was incredible between me and James there the last like 5 laps. Ed caught us a little bit when he pounded the fence, but we were able to get to James, so all good and good. But yeah, James just did a good job setting himself up really good off turn 4, and I just didn't quite set myself up the way I needed to. There was a couple times there in the last couple laps that I think I could have got him. I just didn't quite get the last like 100th or 2 out of it, and that was really the difference. I mean, it came down to 16 thousandths, so hell of a finish between James, able to get 3 solar flare cards into Atlanta next week, and we'll brawl there with Matheson as well.
Yeah, I was going to say, really solid performance just in general this season. Of course, even looking at your car, you have 6 win stickers to your name. You've been the dominant car this season, earning the one you have on the side of the door. But, you know, what's the plan going on into next week at Atlanta, especially amongst you, of course, you 3 solar flare drivers? Are the gloves going to be off? Are you going to try to work together a little bit? Or is you going to work together a little bit, and then by the end of the race, boys have at it?
I mean, we haven't really talked about it, but I would assume it's just the same old, and see how the cards lie in the last 10 laps and go from there. I mean, there's no real reason to change anything up. We've pretty consistently had 2 cards in the top 5, so all we can really do is just control ourselves and see how it plays out.
All right, Seth. Well, really solid job, really solid performance, and we'll see what you can do next week at Atlanta. Good luck.
Appreciate it, boys.
And last but certainly not least, for James Scully, it was a quiet start to his season, but lately has been on a roll, and especially been on a roll after a hard-fought victory with Seth Knoll. And I got to say, James, didn't think that was going to happen because for most of this lap, I actually wanted to check the statistic because you led 120 of the 140 laps here tonight. Very easy to say you were the dominant car here tonight.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. I knew I kind of wanted to try and take matters into my own hands here. Just knew that with a new winner, I figured J-Math would be up front. So with a new winner, it puts me out. So I just knew that I needed to try and get out front and control the race. And luckily, was able to qualify on pole and only have 1 yellow, which was pretty sweet. So just kind of rolling that first seam and trying to save tires. Seth was actually, he figured something out in that second to last run and caught me pretty good. And then I started pulling him a little bit like right before we pit, but I think that was mainly just dirty air, so I knew he'd definitely have a shot at me in the third run too, and he was able to go an extra lap on fuel and pit after me, so knew it was going to be a good battle between us for sure, and just happy to have another great solar flare run, and hats off to Seth for keeping it clean. That was a really fun battle for the win there.
Yeah, and of course, you're coming in with probably one of the most competitive championship 4s we had in area with between yourself, Seth Knoll, Jake Nichols, and Jake Matheson. So, heading into next week, knowing that we're heading to not the regular Atlanta, but the old version of Atlanta, how are you feeling your chances of taking home this championship?
I feel pretty good. It's definitely going to be tough. Obviously, all 4 of us were 1, 2, 3, 4 this race, so I think any given week, any one of us could win, so I think it's kind of going to be like that again next week. I'm glad that it's a 1.5 miles. Haven't raced much Old Atlanta lately, so probably going to have to put in a couple laps and just see how the next gen handles there. Don't know if I've ever driven the next gen there, so definitely going to have to put in some laps, and especially to beat the caliber of drivers. Like you said, I think this is definitely the highest caliber championship 4 we've ever had, so I think it's going to be a shootout next week.
All right, James, fantastic job. Well-earned victory for tonight. Best of luck heading for next week into Atlanta.
Thank you. Before I jump off, want to thank you guys for capturing awesome photo finishes like that. I'm going to have to go back and watch that one for sure. And then huge shout out Solar Flare Racing. Pretty cool to be 1, 2, 4, 5 again this week. Just pretty awesome what we've been able to do this season. Thanks to Drafty Car for being on the car, the admin team, all the racers that still showed up, especially the ones not in the playoffs. We saw a massive field today, and we're able to only have one yellow. So just hats off to everybody today, and we'll go try and lock ourselves in on Thursday, and then hopefully get another win next Monday and also next Thursday. So thanks, guys.
No problem. Thanks for talking to us, James. Best of luck.
Thank you.
All right, and with that, it's going to be wrapping up the interviews here from Kansas. And Hunter, got to say, we always typically see, the cream of the crop rising to the top. And just wanted to take one last look at that photo finish that James mentioned. Is such a close-fought victory between these two.
Yeah, in the back of my mind, I thought that, maybe we could see another photo finish with the way it was starting to shape out, with the 1 closing in, the 7 trying to hold off. But, this was about as close as you could get compared to last year. And the 1 had a swipe right at the very end into the grass, went to 7. But that was the margin of victory right there. The 7 sideways winning it, locking his way into the championship 4. It'll be Scioli, Seth Knoll, Jake Matheson, and Jake Nichols all contending for a championship next Monday night at the old version of Atlanta. So that should be fun with the next gen, or what could have been with that car and track combination. But we still have a Final 4 to set for the Truck Series and the Florida State Builders Area Pro Series. Tomorrow night for the trucks at the same track, and Thursday night for the Florida State Builders Area Pro Series at Kansas as well. Got fond memories of those races, so looking forward to the rest of the week in racing.
Yeah, definitely looking forward to the rest of this week, and of course the championship week next week. All 3 series going to Atlanta, and of course there'll be the final broadcast for SimTV covering the area soccer series across all 3 series next week, and especially with how action-packed this championship 4 is going to be for the Cup Series at least. Definitely not going to want to miss that. But for now, tonight, my name is Finny Kuna here with Hunter Slepper. You're going to be signing out here from Kansas. Thank you for watching.